Let's see how long this takes.
Going live in,
Hi, David. Hi, Isa. So both Jay and Sterling have said hi into the chat, and David Walker, one of the audience, has so much pressure to say hello now. Sad face. And he
I
just
didn't mean to break anyone.
You just broke the ice. You're good, David. And Sterling, are we okay? I think we're live now. I can stop talking. Hi, everybody. It is Miguel Rodriguez here for the last time of the week. Founder and director of the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, ready to wrap things up with just a load of fun talking about crazy shit that we all love. And that crazy shit originally came from the mind spaces of a bunch of guys from Michigan. I cannot wait to talk about this. I've been a fan of this series since I was way too young to see it. And I'm sure that the folks that we have joining me to talk about this can agree that they had similar experiences. Before I introduce my co-hosts and the talent that we have at our disposal, I do want to share with you a video that was made for us, again, from backstage artist SD, the same videos that we've seen over the week, and including Diablo Rojo, Repossession, Optic Nerve. Like throughout, you've been seeing their stuff, and all the way back to Tuesday when we had Jan in a pan with us for the brain that wouldn't die. And we have a video of Henrietta. I'm going to share my screen. Whoa, more EVP. Going.
It happens.
Now.
With a fresh soul. Come to Henrietta. Again. Hey, Henrietta, I just want you to say what's in my fruit cellar for us real quick. Okay. Someone's in my fruit cellar. Someone with a fresh soul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am now going to introduce the Horrible Imaginings co-hosts I have at my disposal. You've already started talking to them in the chat. Whoa, a lot of ghosts in the machine. JK, how are you, friend?
I am good out here in New Jersey and dealing with the ghosts in the machine. I am very happy to be here and happy to see that this doc is out now. It's been a process that Steve and Martin have talked with for quite a long time. So it's great to be here, Miguel, and congratulations, Miguel, on an incredible virtual film festival. So hats off to you.
Thanks. Who knew? Who knew that it would happen this way? But anyway, thank you, Jay. I love hearing it. Keep saying it because I love hearing it. Sterling, you're up, my friend.
Hello, everyone. Sterling Piano here, operations for Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, a programmer for Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and a co-moderator here with my good friend Jay. For this amazing documentary, which we're so happy you guys just finished watching and are here to discuss with all of us. We're all fans. This is going to be so fun.
Yes. Holy cats. The chat has really started populating and filling up, so I'm stoked about that. I am now going to go to gallery view so we could see, ta-da, we've got a whole room full of Deadites to introduce to friends. So the way I'm going to call on you to just say who you are and give us a brief introduction of yourself is in order that I see you in my Brady Bunch tiles, starting with Dennis. Hi, Dennis.
What did I do wrong? Hello.
What should we know about you, Dennis?
A lot of things. Well, obviously, I've been an Evil Dead fan for a number of years. As you can see in back of me, I have a huge collection of Evil Dead memorabilia, not just toys, but also actual props from all the movies and everything. and I've been cosplaying Ash for probably over 10 years now.
You're wearing the trusty blue.
Yep.
Yeah, looking good.
Yes. Emmanuel.
Hello, good morning for me, because I am in Italy. I am an Italian fan, and I run the Evil Dead Italian community, Evil Dead Italia. I'm mainly a collector, but I love travel for cons and so on.
My zombies are actually all Italian based, as you can see.
Oh,
there's
cool,
your homeland
cool.
on my chest.
Really cool.
Michael, I believe you're the one with the ghost in the machine, but I'll have you introduce yourself anyway. Yeah.
There he is. Let's see. Ah, we got him. Michael, you.
Technology.
Yes, technology.
We'll come right back to Michael. Bree.
Hi. I'm Bree. I won a contest in 2012 where Bruce Campbell came to my house, which was surreal and still seems very weird that it happened to me. But I love Evil Dead. I saw it when I was about seven-ish. My older brother showed it to me, and I've been in love ever since.
I also saw it at 7, so we have that in common.
I got 10.
I got 8.
So, Jay, I'm going to say this is your fault. When you asked me to read from the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, that's what put the demon.
Blessing.
That's what put the demon into Michael's computer.
Condo was enough, Miguel. Jesus.
It's Conda, not Condo, but that's okay. It's the nickel.
I said Conda. It was the ghost.
Let's go to Martin.
Hey. How's everyone?
Okay. I'm a little freaked out by the noise, so.
I think it has to do with Mike because we're always getting back to him.
I'm just gonna keep that on mute for the time being. Otherwise, it's all anyone's gonna hear. But so Martin, who the hell are you?
Oh, I'm just a regular guy with a regular job who Steve called to help him with a documentary. I was like, okay, let's do it. That's as simple as that.
It sounded like you were going to write a country song there for a second, but I like that.
Well, I can do it if you want, but it's not going to be fun.
Let's hold off on that. Glenn, we'll go to you.
Hey, Glenn Alexander. I'm the executive producer for this whole affair here. Never was a really big Evil Dead fan. I am not going to lie here. Wait. I was introduced to all of this by Steve. I am, however, a big fan of Steve, so that is why I'm here.
Steve is a very sweet person, and we've only communicated on email, so I can see why.
Yep, he is.
And last but not least, of course, we've got Steve. Steve, this is your baby in a lot of ways. Let's talk to you, and I'm going to go to speaker view.
I'm Steve. I jumped in this project 7 years ago, and yes, I contact Martin to help me. But it's all start when I start chatting with Bree actually, because she's the one who started like introducing me with a bunch of people, and I realized that there was Elise, a super Evil Dead fan, who was living like 15 minutes away from my house, and like the entire project start, on that day.
So, Steve, you sent me this documentary to look at, I don't know, July, maybe? June?
Yes, so yeah.
And when I watched it, the thing that I was struck by, because I'm Jay's age, so, nearing ancient.
Like handsome.
But both of us in that case, my friend. So we probably both remember a time, and probably likely some other folks on this call also, remember a time where fandom was something that disconnected us a lot, unless we subscribed to Fangoria or Famous Monsters of Filmland and started writing letters to each other. And then a little bit later, there were message boards and such, and then of course, occasionally a convention, not nearly as many as there are now, but occasionally a convention where we would get together and meet each other. But in the last, say, 2 decades, largely because of the internet, the culture around, the subculture of a fandom like Deadites can suddenly kind of coalesce into something much bigger that becomes a person's identity. And when I saw your documentary, I was fascinated that the subject was about this. The subject is about a fandom becoming an identity. And it became very familiar to me. I've been going to conventions since I was a teenager. And it's not only about going to conventions and meeting the stars of these films or the creators of these films, but it's also about like the cool creative things that fans kind of pick up and start doing on their own, like running Evil Dead the musical and all that kind of stuff. So Bree obviously got you into this, so I want her to talk about this a lot too. But I really want to know like your interest in fandom as an identity, and you know, how you feel about it now that you've made the documentary, like that people are so intensely like identify with this.
Well, first of all, I'm a super fan of convention. Like I've been going like I think my first con was like in 2005. You know, I did a first feature film, which was an anthology film called Stories of a Grave Digger. Don't look for it; it's awful. But Glenn is my.
Oh, we lost your audio, Steve.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yes,
Sorry.
you're back.
There you are.
Okay, so yeah, this is where I met Glenn actually, because I cast him in one of the segments and we met there, and we start like doing our own like DVD run and start going to convention and stuff, and I just fell in love with convention and fandom and everything, and I think like you were saying, like before that, you know, I had Fangoria, but it was really hard to connect, you know, with the fandom and everything. And when I started going to convention, it kind of became like a second family. We're talking a lot in the documentary about the Cinema Wasteland, which is for me it's such a great con, and we're going there almost every year, always, and and yeah, it's like convention are so good, and like I said, it kind of become a second family. And then, you know, when I start doing this documentary at the end of the day, the end of the adventure, this is what I discover also, that it's the Deadites, like everybody here are a great family. Like we're chatting like every day, I think, for the last month and a half or something, and it's and it's so much fun, so much fun.
Hey Bree, since you apparently are one of the catalysts who got this project started, can you talk about your feelings about this kind of phenomenon as fandom as an identity?
I kind of started with just being an all-around horror fan, but it was after I watched Evil Dead is when I discovered horror. So I feel like the main part of my persona is like a horror lover, but that wouldn't have been a thing if I hadn't seen Evil Dead, maybe. So I feel like it kind of shaped me as a person anyway, a little bit.
Do you think?
Then,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go.
I started thinking about something since you brought up. I'm more of a horror fan generally. Obviously, myself is included in that. But I am fascinated by the idea of Deadites who are specifically Deadites, but not necessarily horror fans in general. I've met a couple like that, like people who are really into Evil Dead, but don't know anything about other horror movies. What do you think about that?
I think that's fine. Like, yeah, you know, the first one obviously is intentionally trying to be scary, whereas, you know, some people think it's funny now. And then they don't get funnier until Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. So, like, I can see people getting into those movies because of the comedy and the fantasy of Army of Darkness. It's more of a fantasy horror movie. So I think that's absolutely fine.
Well, I wasn't trying to put a value judgment on it. I just, it's just kind of interesting to me that.
Yeah, I mean, there's different levels of fandom too.
Totally.
You know, I don't have the biggest collection. I don't have as much stuff as a lot of these people. Like Michael and Elise have crazy amounts of cool stuff.
I can't wait for show and tell, actually. We'll get to some of that too. Before I keep talking, I do want Sterling or Jay to interrupt me with conversations that are going on in the chat.
Go ahead, Sterling. Kick it off, dude.
So, yeah, we have already a lot of great comments just reflecting on their recent viewing of the documentary. Lauren Counts comes up with, I always knew Bruce Campbell was supposed to be a cool guy, but I'm floored by what I learned in this documentary. So many tears in my house. And there's a lot of comments regarding that, with Jeffrey Pearson adding, we just joined you, meaning the chat, 5 boxes of Kleenex later. So just so you guys know, this documentary really is touching a lot of people, just as obviously this was intended, just by the realness of these stories. And Steve Chaput, of course, the story about the guy's son, Ash, had me tear up. Had to stop the doc for a few minutes. And I've had, something tells me a lot of people in this chat are going reflecting on that tale quite a bit. And I look forward to seeing more of that pop up, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, and not only that, there's a lot of people who have turned this into a drinking game. with this conversation in the chat right now. It seems certain keywords are causing for people to get drunk rather quickly. So yeah, exactly, Bree. That's exactly right. But you know what? If I may ask a question off of what Sterling said, Steve, can you talk about the fact of these kind of life moments, the aspect of the wedding, the aspect of the death of the child, those kind of story points, how important were they to kind of be those pillars within the fandom of Evil Dead, instead of just making an entire doc about, you know, the Evil Dead fandom, having a human connection to it that goes beyond the films?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's the reason why, like, we decide to do a fan documentary with the fan and by the fan. You know, there were a couple, like for example, AC, like he did contact me, like when he saw the project that we were doing this project, he did contact me saying, hey, if you ever come near Indianapolis, I have this amazing story about my son and I would like to share it. Like it would be good, like for him, like to kind of like expose all this. So like I was talking, I think I was talking with Martin then, and I was like, okay, like we need to have like this story. I think it's really important for him, like to be able to tell that story. And so we went to Days of the Dead, because you know it was an important thing for us. Regarding the other parts, for example, the wedding stuff, like this is what it wasn't planned at all, you know. Like we were at Cinema Wasteland, we were doing the interview with Tom Sullivan, and then like he started talking about what happened during the day, and it was like oh, I missed that, which is like, oh no, I missed that. And I remember I think maybe like a week or a couple of days after, I kind of post on the Cinema Wasteland page like about it, and then I got a message from Andy, which is Kevin's brother, who's like, you know, like the guy who got engaged, he's my brother, and I filmed the entire thing. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, you know. So we start chatting, and we decide to go for it. But they were getting married like a year after, like exactly a year after. So we had to wait for a year before like actually going to the wedding. So it's, I think like doing a documentary for the fans and with the fan, it's what you want to see. You don't want only to see people in convention and showing, you know, their collection. I think it's important to see that they really care about this, and that's why everybody's like, it's like a big family at the end of the day, you know?
I'm curious about one thing for the folks who have been experiencing this for a long time. When I was a kid, you know, back to kind of what Bree said, the first one is I found very scary because I saw it when I was very young. The second one I saw in the theater, and when it first came out. So yeah, I was pretty young, and I thought that one. I mean, as kind of like more Three Stooges kind of influence that it does get in some parts, I still found it really scary. And when I was, you know, in middle school, I went to like Crown Books and found the Crown Book like paperback Necronomicon in that bookstore, and I think I shoplifted it and thought that I was going to like conjure demons and stuff. First of all, I want to know if anybody on this call had that same experience where you found that shitty paperback Necronomicon at like your like strip mall bookstore or mall bookstore and thought it was like a real evil thing because you were like 11. Is that just me?
My brother had a copy of the Necronomicon, but I didn't think it, because it didn't look evil. It was just a book. It didn't have skin on it.
Yeah, how old were you?
10 maybe.
Really? Like I've heard so many stories about this, and it's great because it feels so recognizable. And there's one story by my friend Keith Allison, who used to do a blog called Teleport City. And he told this whole story about going to like a Walden Books and his friend finding it and running up to him and saying, dude, they have no idea what they have here. It's really, really funny. And I think for a lot of us, you know, this is how we found out about H.P. Lovecraft and that kind of mythos. Like, it was really weird to me in the 90s when the same kind of folks were making things like Xena and Hercules, and seeing the same group of people, Rob Tapert and the like, behind the scenes there, and what seemed to be a mainstreaming of these movies. But I always found they were more culty than it turned out they were. So, well, let's go actually around. I want to hear what everybody's like first experience with Evil Dead was, and we'll start with you, Dennis. Like, I want to hear your own like childhood stories.
Well, Evil Dead, like I said in the documentary, it was like the late 1990s. I was very sick, borderline pneumonia, so I was bedridden, and I was just flipping through the channels, trying to find something to watch, and then all of a sudden I get to the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was the end of the movie where the skeletons are approaching the castle, so it's playing, you know, the Danny Elfman, you know, March of the Dead, da, 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 da. And I'm like looking at this and like, what the heck is this? And so I just watch it and I'm like, okay, all I can figure out is this guy is some kind of time traveler. He's protecting the book from these skeleton guys called Deadites, da, da, da. And the Sci-Fi Channel had the apocalyptic ending. Didn't have the ending that we all know when he goes back to S-Mart. And after I saw this, I don't know what the heck I just watched, but I was like, I like this. And so back in the day when the Sci-Fi Channel used to show like the same movie like 900 times a week, pretty much it was like a few hours later, Armory Darkness came on again. So I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I just kept watching it over and over. I mean, sometimes I'd fall asleep and catch it in the middle or catch it in the end, but pretty much I kept watching it again. And when I got better, I went and bought out the VHS tape of it. So I was like, cool. And I just thought it was just a movie by itself. And then it wasn't until about probably 5 years later or so, give or take, when DVD players started going down in price. When they first came out, as a lot of us know, they were like thousands of dollars. It was ridiculous. And my cousin, he got his first DVD player and a stack full of horror DVDs for his birthday. So of course I'm looking through them. You know, it's Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I get to the bottom one, and it's Evil Dead 2. And I was like, wait a minute. This guy with the chainsaw looks like the same guy that's in this other movie that I like. Now, him being older than me, he knew of Evil Dead long before I ever did. And so he pretty much kind of put it in perspective to me where Evil Dead 1 is kind of a movie by itself, but Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness go together.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So then I went out and I got Evil Dead 2, and I saw that, loved it. And then I got Evil Dead 1 shortly after that, like a week or so after that. So I saw all the movies in backwards order. But then after, like I said, after I saw it, I was like, this is really cool. And my family is a huge fan of a lot of the old comedians, which is, I'm sad to say, is like a lot of the generations today don't even know about. like Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, the Marx Brothers. I grew up watching all these characters, and so I picked up right away a lot of like the Three Stooges humor and everything in it, which I loved. And so like after I saw that, I was like this is like hysterical. Especially like Army of Darkness, which was my first experience with this guy. Like when he's like, "Why you?" and everything, and I was like, "This is really cool." And so I just became like really hooked on it because I love that dark kind of comedy. Because at the time, my parents are big fans of a lot of the old classic black and white films, like obviously King Kong, Dracula, Frankenstein, but also a lot of the B movies, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, them, Tarantula, all those. So I grew up watching them. What they used to have like a Saturday matinee every week, and so I grew up watching these. But after that, they showed a lot of these comedians, and so that's how I learned about them. And just over time, it was just like pretty much what I loved about Evil Dead. It was more like a dark comedy to me. And even though I saw other films, like I think Funhouse was the actual first modern one I saw in the late 70s, that horror film and other ones, but it wasn't until I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 3 where that was like the first real horror film that I saw, and I loved it because I love Freddy Krueger's sense of humor, where it was like a dark comedy, which is what, to me, Evil Dead is the same thing. And I love that because I love comedy and I love horror, and it had like the perfect mixture of both together.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point that you really can watch them in isolation without any kind of like, detriment. It's perfectly enjoyable to watch any of them by themselves. They all kind of exist in their own framework, even tonally, right? They all are their own thing. All right, yeah, moving on to how about Emmanuel? Is it Emanuela?
Emanuele, yes, it's
Emanuele.
a little bit complex.
I want to say it correctly. Okay. Yeah. What's some of your history? I love getting I know that like it's been in the documentary, but it's fun to talk about it anyway and share these things.
Yeah. Well, I have a strange connection with the Evil Dead because I was born something like 2 or 3 months before the Red Form Theater premiere of the first Evil Dead. I was born in 1981. But the first movie I watched it was Army of Darkness because my dad bring me to the theater when I was 10 or 11 circa. And then I watched, like Dennis, I watched the movies in a sort of reverse way because the first was Army of Darkness, but then Evil Dead, maybe the first one. And I love the character of Ash. But something started to change for me when I was 30 because I leave my parents. I go living alone, and I watch. I didn't want absolutely find some kind of pics of the movie. There is not many books about with many pics in it, so I start collecting lobby photo. And then posters. Then I started collecting profit. It was a terrible escalation, buying stuff. And when I meet the guy for shooting to the dice in August 2015, there was another strange connection because that festival, that the WizardCon in August, have to be held in March, but it was postponed because they start filming Ash vs Evil Dead, and I have already booked all the flight for March, but luckily my flight cannot leave because the wind, because I live in a windy city, Genoa, and so I can get all my money back and plan the flight for August, and I meet again the cast of the movie in Germany on the 2016 18 when the series has been cancelled. So I have this strange connection in times with the with the whole series.
That's a great. And if anybody has stories that like maybe didn't make it into the doc, like that would be really, really fun too. Thank you for sharing some of these. Martin, how about you?
It's not super exciting like some of the people over there, but I did see Evil Dead 2 at the theater, and I was young at that time, and this guy who owned the movie theater was such a great guy because you know, you don't let kids into a movie theater when they're presenting something like Evil Dead. But he did, and he knew I was a big fan of horror. And I was living in a small town, and I was probably the only person who loved so much horror movies. And when I went to see Evil Dead 2, they were also presenting Evil Dead 1 just in front of the lobby on a big screen. So I had the chance to see the first one before I went to see the second one inside the theater.
Oh,
And
okay. I'm jealous of that. Yeah.
I totally freaked out. That was such a great experience. Loved it. And since then, of course, I became a huge fan of Evil Dead. I'm still am. And I cannot wait to see the new one, Evil Dead Rise. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling that too. I did love some of the conversations about buying 1 million copies of each film. We've all done that. I'm gonna give Michael. Do you think we can hear you this time? Still on mute. Let's.
Yeah, you're on mute, Michael.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes, you sound fantastic. Well,
yes, right. I couldn't hear hardly anything earlier on. I've switched from the laptop to my phone now, and it seems to be better.
Yes,
I did the same thing too.
Okay, until you started the actual stream, and then it just went crazy. So,
well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So what's going on?
So basically, we're just kind of sharing early, either first experiences with coming to the Evil Dead series, or a new little anecdote from an early experience that maybe made it on the cutting room floor of the documentary.
Right. Well, first of all, being a bit older than a few of you, 50, I saw it when it originally got released, but not in the cinema, like on video. But in the UK, it was released on video only 2 weeks after the cinema release. It was a bit strange back then. But at the time, I was a big fan of horror and sci-fi, and particularly E.T. When I was 12 years old, 13 years old, E.T. was just my favourite film. So I bought this magazine, which is a British magazine called Starburst, and inside the magazine was an Evil Dead article. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yep.
And basically that caught my eye. So I, tried to find it as much as I could about Evil Dead. And I remember seeing little short TV spots on the TV, like 30-second TV spots. So as soon as I could then, me and my sister went in the video shop, hired the movie, and yeah, I've been a fan since I was 13 years old. So that's how it started. But I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've just got so many editions of the movie.
I mean, yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, I saw Evil Dead 2 in the cinema on release, and Army of Darkness, obviously. So yeah, it goes way back with me. I actually lived out in my parents' house. My parents passed away, and I moved back in. And I was going through the spare room, and I found a little Evil Dead drawing on the bedroom wall, which I'd done when I was a kid, and it's up there somewhere now, which was quite cool.
I'd love to see that at some point.
The wardrobe it was a little drawing like that, and I moved the wardrobe and I found it there, and I thought I remember doing that as a child or a 13-year-old or whatever. So my collection's quite big, but it goes way back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so much that I had a lot of money. It's just that I've been buying Evil Dead stuff since I.
It's a lot of time.
It was a lot of time.
I do have a UK-based question for you. Evil Dead was a video nasty and was banned. I wonder if you have any information about that from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, probably nothing that people don't already know, but it was the most rented video in the UK in 1983. And I don't mean horror film. I mean rented video, full stop. It was huge here, and Mary Whitehouse, who was an MP, kicked off about this video nasty. Evil Dead obviously got one of the ones that was picked up. I remember all that, obviously, vaguely. But I can remember me and my sister renting the movie about 3 times before it got pulled. Going down the video shop and saying to the guy, well, where is it? Like, I want it again, like kind of thing. And I probably spent about the next 5 years then tracking down a copy of the movie because it was really difficult. You didn't have the internet back then to, look on eBay and things like that. So I was actually looking through a local advertising paper to find any video shop that exists within so many miles, and I would go there and see if they still had a copy, which it took me 5 years, but I managed to track it down in the end. It's freely available now.
Yes,
but it wasn't at the time.
Trust me, the amount of things, my friend, that I have paid upwards of $100 for on shitty 8th generation VHS bootleg because at one point it was impossible to find, but now is available in 15 different versions. It's a familiar feeling.
Because it actually eventually got released for the first time since the ban after Evil Dead 2 at theaters. So unless you were sort of a similar age, probably hadn't seen the first movie. So it's probably, I know Palace Pictures was the UK distributors was planning to release it simultaneously again with Evil Dead 2, but that fell through. So it didn't actually come out on video till some 2-3 years after Evil Dead 2 came out. Re-released, I mean, obviously after the first one was banned, sort of thing. So yeah, that was quite frustrating.
I feel that. All right. Well, thank you for sharing some of those because it's definitely a different perspective. And there are people in our conversation on the chat who may or may not know about a lot of the Video Nasty kind of scandal and the Marywood House thing and the people who were arrested for selling copies of Child Play 3 and shit like that. There's a whole thing that you all should read up on that. Steve, I want to hear your stories, my friend.
It went backwards for me too. I saw Army of Darkness on television, so I guess I was 13 because maybe like a year after it went out on the theater. And then the other thing I remember being in a video store and seeing the cover of Evil Dead 2, because of the skeleton and everything. I was like, whoa! So I watched Evil Dead 2 after, and then a couple of years after. I went to another video store and I saw the cover of Evil Dead 1, but the title was in French. And here in French, in Montreal, the name of Evil Dead 1 is L'Opéra de la Terreur. It's like the terror of Oprah, something like that. Not Oprah, the girl on TV, but whatever. And so we rent that, and when I start watching the movie, like I didn't see any connection at the beginning. Because of the title, it was different from Evil Dead 2. And I was like, what am I watching? I saw that movie before. I was completely confused. And, back then, there was not any internet to type on Google, Evil Dead, what the fuck? And then you understand the complete story and everything. So I was confused. But, I started loving the movie after that. And I still do.
And Bree, I know you told me the story about seeing it when you were just 7. I'm wondering if there's one more little story, and I'm going to have Sterling and Jay take over after that.
A bonus story?
Yeah, bonus. More than before.
So a year after I won the contest and met Bruce, my husband and I went to go see Army of Darkness at the Cinerama in Seattle. And Bruce Campbell was doing a Q&A after the show, and after the movie he took a few questions, and the last question he took was my husband, and he said, oh, last year you met the ultimate Evil Dead fan, like how was that? And in front of it's the Cinerama, so it's really huge, like maybe a couple hundred people, he kind of squints his eyes and looks over at us and he goes, is that you weirdos? And then he called me to the front of the stage in front of the whole theater, which was weird because I don't like doing stuff in front of a bunch of people, even though it seems like I'm cool with it. So that was a fun little story. So I got to meet him twice, really, which was fun.
So he put you in an uncomfortable position. That's awesome.
He loves to do it.
Yes, he does.
He loves it.
I've seen it in action myself. Jay and Sterling, what's going on with our audience?
Well, we got a little bit of the chat pertaining to the video nasties and some people really connecting to that aspect of it and what it meant, you know, when it comes to more than just Evil Dead, but those films. But people are still drinking, and we're wondering if when Christopher is going to completely decompose.
He's on his way.
He's on his way?
A
Okay.
steady pace. We do have a question from Lauren Counts. How many other people did you meet who had an impact on this film's journey that you maybe weren't able to feature in it in this current cut?
We didn't cut a lot of people. Like, to be honest, I don't remember cutting any people that we filmed. Correct me wrong, Martin. Did we film somebody else that we had cut? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No,
Maybe some people that had so many, exciting things to show, like props or whatever. But beside that, I don't think so. We did meet a lot of people that were fans of the Evil Dead. Like me and Steve were working at the Comic-Con of Montreal, Quebec, Ottawa, and there was a lot of fan over there. And we had the booth with the Hail to the Deadites poster, and people were curious and they wanted to know what Hail to the Deadites was. And when we told them what it was, they started talking about it, and they started to say, "Oh, I got this and I got that. Oh, I can show you something. I got this costume," and blah 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 blah. A lot of things came out of it, but no, we couldn't put everything on film. I mean, there's so many fans of the Evil Dead. I don't think it would have worked unless you want to do something like In Search of Darkness and put it at a running time of 4 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? One of the things, and this is also a question from Lauren, the aspect of all the travel to conventions and Comic-Cons, because I know, we had talked before, Steve and Martin, about the fact of seeing you guys in Toronto a few years ago when you interviewed Chris Alexander, but also, Horror Hound, Days of the Dead, Shock Stock, just, a lot of them being there. So either of you would like to talk to the travel that went into this and all the places you guys hit up for the interviews and content?
Steve, do you mind if I talk about it?
Go ahead. I know you want to.
First of all, when Steve called me to work on the Hail to the Deadites, I've never been to the States. Here I was 35 years old, just welcomed my daughter at home, and then he calls me and he says, "Hey, you want to work on a movie and go to the States and do some interviews?" I'm like, I just got a baby and I can't do it. And my wife says, "Well, go do it. This is like a chance of a lifetime." So I said, "Okay, well, no problem." So we went. What was it? The Cinema Wasteland, the first one?
Yep.
So we went to Cinema Wasteland, and when the first time I went into the place, I was like, not starstruck, but I was looking at everything. I was like, this kind of thing exists. How the fuck did I miss that? This was fucking amazing for me. I was like a baby in a candy store. I wanted to buy everything. I wanted to talk to everyone. I wanted to see every fucking movie they were showing. And then we started to meet all the people I knew since the age of 6, We went to see the stars. We went to see people that made Evil Dead. I was like, I couldn't say anything. I was starstruck by them. That's for sure. I was so excited. So it got me. After that, I wanted to go to every goddamn horror convention there was. And I'm just gonna say something really funny. I don't know if it's the first time, but as a French person with an accent, since this was the first time I went to the States, or second time, I'm not so sure. We went to the borders, and I was nervous. this was the first time I went through the borders. I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Those guys are fucking scary. So the guy asked me, what's the purpose of your travel? I'm like, well, we're going to OR convention. And he goes like, excuse me? I said, well, we're going to OR convention. Did you say whore convention? I'm like, no, not a whore convention, a horror convention. I thought for sure that he was about to just get out of the car and let's check some things up.
That's the second
documentary.
I
But that was a lot of fun though.
I've got to say that same thing has happened to me, and since that happened, I just say monster movie convention.
I just say Fantasia. That's easy for me.
Yeah,
do that.
It's funny. Before I ask something, or if Sterling and Jay also feel free to interrupt me, but I noticed that Henrietta's on mute. I kind of wanted to ask Henrietta a question. Henrietta, I know, has some help there, so if get your soul to get you off mute, Henrietta. But until we get that, I do. Have any of you been involved in the musical, Evil Dead the musical?
I've seen it.
Seen it, yeah.
It's all seen. What do you think?
It was good. The one I went to was a local small town in Washington, so the budget wasn't as crazy as, like, say, Las Vegas, but it was still really cool.
Other experiences that you love?
Well, in my case, I saw the musical 5 times.
I've seen
the first.
I've seen it 11 times.
There you go. And I would still go, and again and again. It's that good. And the first time we saw it was in Montreal at the Just for Laugh festival, and it was a part of the festival. And we knew there was something about the Evil Dead, but we didn't know about the splashing thing. So we were in front of the audience,
Splash zone,
and all of a sudden, we got splashed by the blood. We were like, holy crap, what the fuck just happened? And then you go back in Montreal, you take the metro, and everybody's looking at you. What the fuck is going on? Those guys are bloody as hell.
Yeah. The one put on here in San Diego, what's really funny about it, my friend Stacy puts it on, and he's a high school drama teacher and puts it on every Halloween. And some of his cast he gets from the high school students with their parents' permission. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild to have that connection. Jay and Sterling, what's going on in the chat?
Yeah, we have a cool question, but first off, I just got to say something really random here that I think is pretty on topic. One of the previous mayors of the city I live in, every October, he would change his picture in the city's directory to him and his wife drenched in blood from seeing the production in San Diego. And I always thought that's how you rally a city together underneath your local government.
Wait, this is Marietta, Sterling?
Yes.
What the hell?
So we have a question from Andrew Nesis. So does anyone here happen to have any hot takes on the 2013 remake or the Showtime series if you want to go beyond that? And I guess this is going to apply to any praise as well.
Stars series.
I love the remake.
Correct.
Yeah, I did love the remake, to be honest. I thought it was. I think along with the Ills of Ice and Dawn of the Dead, it's one of the 3 best remake that have been done. Well, I don't want to count The Thing because it's so old, but like like in the last maybe 20 years or stuff. Regarding the series, I wasn't a fan of the first season. I enjoyed the second season, and I really, really liked the third one. So I was really disappointed when it was canceled because it was like, oh, it was
finally found a voice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Loved the Evil Dead remake on my side too. It was well done. It was a little bit different, and it was gory as hell. I mean, I don't know how many gallons of blood they used for the final scene, so
think it was
loved it, of course.
50,000.
It's something like that, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Think
it
so?
was an insane amount of practical blood. Yeah, it was like an a whole aquarium's worth. Yeah.
So it's not like they didn't try. I mean, they did a really good job at it too, and yeah, I just loved it.
Yeah, same.
I liked it a lot too. I don't really see it as a remake.
Mm.
It's more of like more bad shit's happening to people in the same universe because you see
Right.
like Delta. So I try not to think of it as a remake, just like a continuation of the story.
You know, it's weird because they're all kind of remakes in a way. I mean, Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead in a very, very real way. And it's all just kind of, they're playing with these notions and these, it's more fun than trying to like think of it as, you know, this story that is being remade or tainted. Like you can play and do whatever the hell you want with it. I think that's one of the beauties, the beautiful things of what Sam Raimi has created and his team have created is like, you know, it can be as dark as the remake, which I also really like, or it could be as like wacky as Army of Darkness, or that my favorite scene in Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which is the morgue scene. I'm in the butt, you know, like that kind of genius. It doesn't matter. It could be the same universe. It's just something that we all can love. Henrietta.
Yeah.
Since we haven't had a chance to talk to you very much about, you know, over the course of the week, you've been dressing up in all kinds of stuff for us, not to blow your cover, but I'd like to hear about why you chose Henrietta for this particular costume.
Well, the first one I saw was Evil Dead 2. And at that time, I had just purchased a hair salon, so I was working like 14-hour shifts, and I had like on my day off I was in the remodeling the building, so it's like I had like Saturday nights off, and I had my son on Saturday nights. He was like 5, and I would go to Blockbuster and rent like 2 or 3 scary movies, because you never know if one's going to be bad, then you can pop it out and you can pop another one out, you know. So I
missed those days.
First time. The first time I saw it, though, it was just like, once she pops out of the floorboard, it was just like, oh, fuck yeah. I was like, I like her. And when I realized that Evil Dead was going to be a part of this festival, it's like, first thing, I'm like, fruit seller lady. I want to be fruit seller lady.
You got the legs down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's nylon stockings with, I put styrofoam in them, stuffed cotton around, and poured from the gallon of latex jug.
So good.
And just kept on reshaping them. And then when I went to try them on, areas would rip, and I'm like, that's perfect. My leg will show now too, you know.
You could probably add some cream corn.
Oh yeah, huh?
Ooh.
I like the face. It's very Tom Sullivan-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I did them one at a time. I did the legs that way, and then I did the arms the same way. So a lot of latex. But
Is there more fun?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love her character though, so I just couldn't wait to do her, you know. And this is like the Evil Dead 2, she's more gray in color. Like the newer one, she's like more skin color.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of did mostly gray, but still wanted some skin tone in there also. And I don't think in Evil Dead 2, I don't remember seeing blood on her necessarily, and I'm all about blood with the gore. So it's like by mixing them together, I'm like, yeah, you know, I can go with a little bit of blood, you know? So,
One of the classic little bloopers that I just love is in Evil Dead 2, where Henrietta's floating and spinning around. As she spins, you can see Ted Raimi's butt like through the costume, which is just awesome. And my favorite Bruce Campbell quote when people point that out is, "Yes, you're a genius. You've discovered movies are make believe." All right, Jay and Sterling, what's going on in the chat?
Well, there's a lot of talk about different conventions that people have gone to with the spark of the conversation and seeing so many different ones in North America with Hail to the Deadites. One thing I will say, Miguel, off of what you said with how different the three films are, and this is something Chris Alexander brought up, was that it was the 80s, the 90s, no, the three different decades. Let's put it out, 3 different decades for each of the films, and the different decades had a real impact on where they were on a lot of different levels with the filmmaking and the storytelling and experience. But Justin had a general question. Was it more mysterious and fun when it was harder to find things before the internet, or is it better now that everything is more accessible? So I guess that's a question for everyone across the board. Steve, I'll start with you on that. Is it, in your opinion, is it more accessible and better now than it was before?
Wow. I start my Evil Dead collection over eBay, you know. So, you know, I was at home and I was just buying every horror film that was coming in, like coming out. It cost a lot of money. Most of the time I was like, well, this movie was okay, but like I didn't really liked it. So at some point I told myself, you know, I should collect something that I really like. So one night I kind of opened the computer, went on eBay. I think it cost me like $800 or $900 of different copies of Evil Dead. And it was like, okay, there you go. I'm starting my Evil Dead collection. So without internet, I don't know. I'm not sure I would be collecting like I'm doing right now. So I guess it's better, and I don't think that Michael would have looked for a copy for 5 years if he had internet back in the day. So,
Gwen, what about you? Because we really haven't heard from you. What's your thoughts on that?
Me?
Yeah, you. Who else?
Wake up, Glenn.
Sorry about that. I drifted off there for a second.
that's why he's having those glasses, so we don't see that his eyes are closed.
That's actually the easy part for the producer. He just gives the money out and then just go to sleep.
Well, I did a 12-hour shift, so I'm a little bit
you earned money as well. Good job, man.
So I could tell you about the conventions with the to your previous question with the conventions. It was a lot of bills that was sent to me. So all I can tell you is that these guys eat a lot, go to a lot of restaurants, and stay at expensive hotels.
All right.
Not even.
Comfort.
No, what was the question actually? I didn't hear the.
The question was from Justin. You know, was it more mysterious and fun when it was hard to find things before the internet, or is it better now that everything is more accessible?
I think it's better now that it's more accessible, because now you can really explore the fandom much more than you ever could before. I mean, look at this group. You all met each other through the internet. Would you have met each other in any other way? Impossible. Maybe at a convention you would have saw somebody and said something to somebody, but now with the internet you can connect to, like, you could find like everything, every kind of fan thing you could possibly imagine, you can find it on the internet, and you can connect with people in groups and then make new friends, and it's just a networking opportunity that's beyond belief. Wow. I mean, like, what's the chances of you guys would have all gotten together? You know, and this is, you know, you won't even, it's also a good marketing tool, because now you can find out, like, you know, well, how many fans are out there. They're all over Facebook. They're all over all these groups. You can actually market films to these people. You can actually go out and, you know, it's just unlimited opportunities that are out there for like all kinds of like documentaries and films and everything. You know, networking should never be underestimated. And when you get groups of people together have similar interests, it's fantastic. So I mean, I don't think this documentary could have been done without the internet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Michael, international perspective.
I do on 100%. I miss the hunt. It's easy to get stuff now, and you know, I used to go to film conventions. I traveled to London, which is, you know, a few hours away. Like I said, I'd be looking through local ads to see people selling VHS tapes and stuff like that. I do miss the hunt. It is easier, so it's better from that perspective, but it's not as exciting when you find something as it used to be. And I tell you something now, and he probably doesn't even know this himself. Emmanuel, who's in this group chat, he actually got my very first copy of Evil Dead I ever had.
Wow.
He gave it to me a few years ago, yeah. I don't think I ever said it was my first ever copy. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But what it is, I actually got a better condition one. I gave him my very first copy that I ever owned. So look after it.
Here it is.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, man, yo, that is awesome.
I need you to talk, Manuela.
Oh, sorry.
That way we can see you.
Can you see me? Can you see
me?
me?
We can see that. Yes.
Yes.
That was my first born. That was
the palace picture.
With the clamshell. How beautiful.
Does that mean he wants it back?
Dennis, what about you? Because your collection is really highlighted in the documentary. What about you?
Yeah, I think the internet has definitely helped people a lot. I mean, I do love, you know, like the thrill of the chase, the thrill of the hunt, you know, sometimes. But I know it's also frustrating sometimes where it's like you'll go on eBay and you'll see something and like, wow, when did this come out? 4 years ago, it was some kind of exclusive somewhere, and like it costs like, you know, $500 when it first came out. It was only like $5. So it gets kind of frustrating with things like that. But I definitely think the internet though has, you know, helped obviously collectors, and what you were saying, people connecting and everything, and just fans finding each other. I know a lot of us, you know, we're all friends on Facebook and everything, and so, you know, we don't see each other in person. We still, you know, we're all in like different groups and stuff on there, or message each other there, so we'll kind of keep in touch. So I think technology has really helped, obviously, fans and everything connect with each other, with their collecting and everything. So it's really good.
And Bree, what about you? I mean, you're the catalyst of sorts for this documentary. So, I mean, if anything, you're the embodiment of what this question is about, being positive towards the internet.
That's true. I feel the same as Dennis and Michael, because I collected VHS, and I like to find them in the wild, as it were. So I don't really like to buy things on eBay or Amazon VHS wise. So finding stuff without using the internet, I feel like is a lot more fun and special. But connecting with other fans is a lot better using the internet. And obviously, like, I've found a lot of really cool people, and they're all here right now. So it's not all bad.
No, not all bad. And then Henrietta, real quick, you know, that fruit salad, you can find it anywhere in the world now.
I'm going to pull moderator here and show the whole group again, because we've come up at, well, we're 3 minutes past. I do want to just say, like, I do love what Michael and Bree were both saying. I feel like when it was rarer, each individual things kind of held more weight and more value. And now everything's like, oh, I got this, I got that. And the value seems to have gone out a little bit.
Also pushed up the prices as well, I think, eBay. I mean, most of my coolest stuff I consider, I paid very little for.
True.
Garage sale.
Great point.
Yeah. eBay has just made everything, especially Evil Dead, just go crazy prices wise, and it's like,
tell me about it. You used to get like props from like $6 Million Man for nothing, and then when it became like a collector's thing, now you can't get it for less than thousands of dollars. All right, yeah, we could honestly just keep talking about this kind of thing all night long. But Steve, do you have any final thoughts about your documentary getting out into the wild now?
It's like we started this 7 years ago, so it was quite an adventure. And like Martin was bugging me every couple of weeks, like, is it done? Like, is it done? Is it done? I was like, and then after he was like, it's never gonna come out. It's never gonna come out, you know. So
Well,
having the movie.
that was me.
Yeah,
That
I
was
was gonna
me.
say, isn't that the producer? When can we start making our money back?
Exactly.
I've been asking him that for about 7 years already.
But yeah, you know, having the movie like finally done and seeing that we are getting so many good reviews. You know, I don't know how many reviews we have so far, but like
85.
85 reviews.
85. Nice. Yeah.
And out of this, I think like over 80% are super good reviews.
Yep.
It's I'm super happy, and it you know, when you're doing a movie, like I don't want to say a normal movie, but let's say you're doing a documentary on cheeseburger or whatever, you know, you're doing your film and then it's done. But because this one is made with the fans, by the fans, you know, there's no any footage from the actual franchise. It's all fan film. We have, I think, 12 or 13 band who kind of like give us the right to use their music in it. So seeing that the people really enjoy it, it's an amazing. It's just amazing. It's just super fun, you know.
Well, I think that's a great way to kind of end on the thought. Steve, I really look forward to your cheeseburger documentary. Which I hope is your next project.
Where's the beef, folks?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really just a pleasure talking to everyone about this. How can you not have fun talking about something that you love so much? Yeah, it's just so much fun. Speaking of reviews, by the way, we've got a whole chat room full of people who've had a blast talking behind the scenes here. Jay and Sterling have been watching it go by. So all of you at home, remember, your job's not finished. Add to those reviews, Letterboxd, IMDb, all those places to boost the visibility of these. I say it every time. I'll keep saying it every time. We're here to support the films, so that's the way to do it. Everybody who joined us for this talk, it's our last night, so thank you so much for, you know, sending us off right. I appreciate it.
And congratulations to Miguel and the team of Horrible Imaginings and everyone that's involved, all the selections and everything. So hats off to you.
Thank you, Christopher Olsen, for, or I'm sorry, thank you, Henrietta, for coming out of the cellar. Wow. Watching my fruit salad. That was fun. Yeah.
We've had fun.
Yes. Oh, last thing for Steve and probably mostly for Greg, actually, or Glenn. Sorry, Glenn. This is recorded, and you will be like, it's non-exclusive, so you can use whatever clips or, you know, for promotion, however you want to get more visibility for the documentary. So thank you so much. I'm gonna pass the fuck out. Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you for having us, guys.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
guys.
Thank you, everyone, for
Appreciate
coming
it.
out.
Thank you, audience, too.